Hi everybody, my name is Katie and my husband Josh and I have we're in the midst of IVF process right now. We attempted to do a video before we started, but just never got around to updating or uploading it rather. But I've been watching a lot of videos online from other couples going through IVF and kind of have built relationships with some of them online, and so they'll say, keep us updated on you. And so I just felt like I would give a video now, even though we're basically halfway through the process. So today's video is going to be kind of like a overview of what we've done up to this point, and kind of some things that I've felt along the way I wish I'd maybe done a little differently or had known about. Had done a lot of research, watched a lot of videos, read a lot of stuff online, and there's still parts that I felt like, oh, I wish I had known that or to ask that, and so maybe some of those things might be helpful. So the first thing I did, and I recommend, is creating a book of just the process that you're going through. I basically printed everything out from what the doctor has given us to things I've read online, price sheets from ordering medicine online, receipts, and then also I printed, I think you guys can see, I printed a calendar of just everything we're doing, and when we're doing shots, and I highlight off my shots as I take them just so that I know I did it. So basically I'm going to reference this when I talk to you guys about what we've been through. So we decided back middle of February that we were going to do IVF. This has been like a 5-year battle. I will say that we do have a biological son. He actually is 9 today. So we had no trouble getting pregnant with our first child. Waited until he was like 4.5, and then decided to try again. And since then, we have not been successful in getting pregnant. So kind of waited it out quite a long time, and then just this year kind of realized that I'm not getting any younger, neither is my husband, and we knew we would always regret not trying everything that we could to conceive another baby. We don't have insurance coverage, so that was a really big hurdle for me personally to overcome, just the thought of spending a lot of money out of pocket to make this happen. But again, just this year just was like, screw it. Let's just do it. Let's try it. I don't want to regret, 10 years from now not having tried IVF. So that's where we are today. And this last part of our journey, up to this point, we kind of realized that actually it was kind of more of a male factor, my husband's issue, than it was mine. So, which we didn't really know through meeting with several fertility doctors over the years. We've moved around the country a lot, so that's why we haven't stayed with one specific doctor. But this last doctor that we visited kind of explored that side of things a little bit more than the others had, and kind of came to the conclusion that that's what our issue was. So it kind of gave me a little more hope that the IVF would be successful. So fast forward, we decided middle of February we were going to do this. I had a hysteroscopy 2 years ago from another fertility doctor, who at the time said everything was perfect, even said my C-section scar from years previous was hardly noticeable, that my uterus was perfect basically for fertility, for carrying another baby. So because it had been 2 years, our fertility doctor, who we have now, said that she would at least like to do a saline sonogram. It's called SIS. Just basically an in-office procedure. Just to, if you guys aren't familiar with it, they just inject saline vaginally with like a little plug just to see if there's anything that shows up in the uterus wall. So I did that roughly, let's see, when did I do that? I would say, okay, wait. Actually, I started birth control. Let me back that up. I started birth control on cycle day 1 of February, which was cycle day 1 was February 26th. It was a Friday. So I started my birth control 2 days later on Sunday the 28th. The plan was for me to take that for roughly 16 days, up until the Monday the 14th of March. I did that saline sonogram. It was like roughly the beginning of March, like the 3rd or the 4th, something like that. It was one of the most painful experiences I've ever had. I don't know why. The only thing I can assume is that what they discovered was causing the pain. So ironically, I had a piece of scar tissue basically connecting the middle of my uterus. So when they put the saline in there, I can kind of show you. When they put the saline in there, like it would bubble out, but then the middle part was still kind of stuck together. So as she injected the saline, it was pretty painful. So we decided at that appointment that I would just do another hysteroscopy, just to get rid of that scar tissue. Obviously, they didn't want that in there for the IVF cycle. And so we did that the following Tuesday on March 8th. They were able to get me in pretty quickly to the hospital. The procedure was like super quick, like zero pain afterwards, just really tired from the anesthesia. They got the piece of scar tissue out. It was very minimal. And actually, we had gone into the procedure with the understanding that we would have had to put our IVF off for a month. But when we came out, because it went so well, she actually told us that we could continue with this month. So I was not expecting that, but I was thrilled. So we continued with the birth control through the 14th, so roughly another week or so. And then I went in for my baseline appointment on Monday the 15th, or Tuesday the 15th, I'm sorry. And everything looked great. At the time, my estradiol was like a 32.5, if I remember right. So that was like really good based on what I had read, and to have a good baseline. So that was on Tuesday. So the idea was for us to start gonal F injections the following Friday. I'm reading my calendar, sorry. Friday the 18th of March. So that was my first injection that night. So those of you who don't know gonal F, it's just this little pin. You guys can see. It's this little pin. You can get them in different sizes. We actually ordered all of our medicine overseas, so if anybody has any questions about that, I'd be happy to guide you. It was really easy, much less expensive. Our doctor wasn't really super keen on us doing that, but actually I had family members who have done IVF in the past order from this same particular pharmacy overseas, so we had kind of a first-hand experience of how good it was. So we went for it and got our medicine 3 days later. It was perfect. So basically you just like dial this little dial up and it moves it out. They come with these tiny little needles that you just screw on. You take one of these out of the bag. You guys can see. They screw on, you dial it up, you stab it in, you push. The one thing I wish I had known, or maybe I just didn't realize it, was when I decided that I was going to give all of my injections that were in my stomach, so up to this point today, myself, and that my husband would help me with the ones that are like intramuscular in the back. So because I was like really apprehensive, even though these needles are teeny tiny, I was really apprehensive. I kind of like went in like, if this was my skin, I kind of just tapped and pushed, versus what I should have done and what you guys should all do is just a quick tap, not hard, but just with some velocity, because I felt like it just punctures the skin way quicker. Same thing. So I've been doing this every night. They tell you to do it in like a 2-hour window. I have been doing this since the 18th. So last night was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last night was night 10. So they had given me an idea of 8 to 10 days of stimulation. So it's exactly at 10. So these weren't bad, ladies. They really are. Sometimes, most of them I didn't even feel. I always had anxiety stabbing myself, but these are really not that bad. So I did the stims for 4 days and went back on Tuesday the 22nd for, I guess, my day 4 ultrasound. Anyway, like 4 days of stims that day. Let's see, if I can remember right, my estradiol had gone up to like 322, and I had like 15 to 20 follicles on each side, which kind of blew my mind. I had no idea that I'd have that many. It was another doctor in the practice who had done that ultrasound, so she didn't know me personally, and she was like, this would be way better for an IVF cycle. And I was like, oh, yes, that's what we're doing. She thought we were, for some reason, thinking we were maybe doing IUI, which would have been kind of risky with that many follicles. So clearly I had been responding well. My dose was 150, which is actually at the very low end of medication. So I was happy that I was responding so well. Again, being out of pocket this money, that I could respond that well to the very low dose. So everything was looking good. Actually, it was looking so good that day that she asked me to start the other drug, which I take is ganirelix. That's the one that prevents you from ovulating. So the very next morning, I started the ganirelix. I'm all out of ganirelix. I don't know if I can open this. I probably can't. Let's see here. Anyway, ganirelix is roughly the same size needle. I want to say the needle's a little tiny bit bigger than the gonal F pen, but still not super painful. 2 of those I could feel injecting a little bit of a sting. So again, that faster pace is going to be your best friend, not to go slow. They're in my Sharps container. They'll send you one of these little doohickeys to put them all in here. I can't get the needle out. I have used all my ganirelix. This morning was my last injection. So I started on the 23rd, Wednesday the 23rd. So ganirelix in the morning to prevent ovulation, and I continued my 150 dose of gonal F at night. So I did that for 3 days. I went back this past Friday, the 25th, for my second blood test and ultrasound while on stim meds. My estradiol at that point was 1,001, and all of my follicles have been growing. We have an online portal that kind of, the ones that they do measure, they'll tell you the average size, and I think roughly we were like 11 to 12, some were even as big as 14 millimeters. And again, she wasn't even measuring them all, and she measured for the portal 10 on each side. So we just have an abundance of follicles. So much so that this time she kind of talked about the possibility of OHSS, which is like a hyper stimulation of your ovaries by doing these drugs, and wanting to prevent that. So that evening, based on those results, we actually dialed down the gonal F to 125 for that evening up until last night, Sunday. So I did 3 more gonal Fs at 125, and I still maintained my ganirelix in the morning. What I will say about the ganirelix, or at least my particular experience, was when I ordered the medication, and because we were ordering overseas, I remember the nurse saying you should order, like usually we use 4 ganirelix. I would probably get 5 to err on the safe side. So we ordered 5 from overseas. They're literally half the price of what they were here in the US, thinking we would be fine. We actually had to order last minute 1 extra one because apparently I needed another one. So we had to rush order from a local pharmacy 1 here that was twice the price. So that was kind of a bummer. I wish maybe in hindsight I had ordered or known to ask that maybe I should have at least 1 or 2 extra, because I would have rather paid to have 2 extras for the same price. But we might not have had to use them, so I guess it's really kind of up in the air. But just something to think about if you have to order out of pocket. So last night was my last gonal F. I took 1 more Ganirelix this morning and went in for my 3rd ultrasound today. My follicles are very big. I haven't even gotten the call back from the doctor's office. Usually they call me around 1 or 2 in the afternoon to give me an update. But basically what she said is we're ready for the trigger shot. But again, because I have kind of some, I guess, characteristics that might classify as OHSS or be, because I've responded so well to such a low dose of the stimulation drugs, she is kind of toying with the idea of either doing half the HCG for the injection, the trigger shot, or possibly doing Lupron. I'm really hoping that we don't have to do Lupron, because because we need it again, like tonight, I would have to go to a local pharmacy to pick it up today. And the one that we used to order the Ganirelix from, I asked them the price of the Lupron, and it's like close to $500. So I'm really hoping that I don't have to use that as my trigger shot, because we've already filled the HCG and it was like $93. So I kind of expressed that to her today, and she did say that there's some other protocols that they can use to try to prevent OHSS. So I'm hoping that I expressed my concern. I certainly wouldn't want to just do the HCG if it was going to cause an issue, because if you do get OHSS, there is the possibility that we won't get to do a fresh embryo transfer, which obviously we're really hoping that we can continue with that. At the same time, she did say that with the Lupron trigger shot, there's a possibility of less implantation chances. So again, I wouldn't even want to necessarily do Lupron if it's going to minimize our chances of implantation this cycle. So we'll find out this afternoon what my estrogen level was, but based on today's ultrasound, my follicles are rather large. They're within that, a lot of them are within that like 16 to 18 to 20 millimeter range. Some were even bigger than that. There are a lot. So I'm encouraged by that. Hopefully we'll get some fertilized. We are doing ICSI because of my husband's factor. So they will fertilize any of the embryos that any of the eggs that they do retrieve. So I'll find out today what kind of shot we'll do, what time we're going to do it this evening, and egg retrieval is on Wednesday. So I'm really excited. It's been an interesting couple of weeks. I've not felt the best doing this. Had a lot of headaches and really tired. So I'm happy that this part of it's over. I'm not really looking forward to the intramuscular injections of progesterone, my bag of progesterone needles. I did buy something on Amazon. I don't know if it'll work, but I actually read quite a bit of reviews that say something like this would work for injections. It's called Numb Master. It was like $20 online. You just put a little bit on, and I think you put saran wrap over it for like 30 minutes to an hour prior to your injection. So I'm going to try it tonight and see if it works. If it doesn't, it was worth a shot, but a lot of people had really good reviews about it on Amazon. So I'm looking forward to at least doing that part. So I'll keep you guys updated. I'm sorry my video was so long. I probably should have done several throughout the last couple of weeks. But we'll see what happens. I think this is a good point at which to do a video, and hopefully my next video will be Wednesday after the transfer, or probably Thursday morning, depending on how I feel, because they're going to put me to sleep or something like that. So anyway, thank you all. I'm hoping that the ladies that I watch videos, or at least get to know who I am, and will be a part of my process. I pray for all the women that I'm following, and for myself. I hope this works, and yeah, just baby dust to everyone. Have a great day. Bye.